Estonia's e-initiatives are well regarded among digital governments. It is also a world tech hub. What are the secrets to its success? Today we talk to its President Kersti Kaljulaid to find out more. Hi President Kaljulaid, thank you for talking to us today. What are the ingredients that make Estonia the tech hub it is today?
First and foremost, we all have digital identity. We've had it for 20 years. We treat it exactly like passport in the digital world. State is the issuer of this digital ID, and state also takes the responsibility for its upkeep. Everybody, public and private sector, use this digital ID as a gateway to the services. The entry to the system is digital signature, time-stamped, and there is also an encryption, automatic encryption ongoing. So if you are in the system and you are, let's say, buying something from somebody whom you like to have as a business partner, then no Google will look in and send you advertisements later on. You're fully protected, fully covered, and fully safe.
After breaking away from the Soviet Union, regaining your independence in 1991, Estonia has embarked on a series of digital reforms. Was it hard to find tech talent to lead the digital reforms at that time?
In Estonia, the e-banking from private sector went online in 1994. We quickly followed the private sector's lead and started to use the same technologies which, for example, banks were using to guarantee client service online. We didn't see any reason why government service, for example, paying taxes, should be more complicated than making an online transaction in an e-banking system. We thought that in 3, 4, 5 years' time, all governments globally will do the same. And we are still astonished that even 20 years later, we are considered frontrunners.
How did you build the tech talent pool in the country?
I don't think we have more tech talent in the country than in any other country. This is a mistake to think that to work in tech company, you have to have a degree in math. You don't. Tech companies need a lot of specialists in social science. In services are for people and they need to be designed so that people can use them comfortably. This is a total myth that the society has to somehow be more math or physics oriented.
How many e-residents do you now have contributing to the Estonian digital economy? And what are their biggest contributions? Do you have examples to share?
We have 70,000 e-residents, but they are not related to tech sector specifically. I mean, for example, if you have a company in Estonia, which I don't know, sells shoes, this company does all its administrative work online. This is what we provide for companies. And you don't have to be a tech company to benefit. I mean, all kinds of companies can benefit. Restaurants, shoe shops, everybody benefits from this digital ecosystem. It's simply easy to use and doesn't take time. Some have created simply their trading companies, for example, in Estonia, and they may trade in whichever goods and services. So again, we should never limit these developments to tech sector. They are, socially transforming the whole country and transforming the whole economy. Technology is mainstreamed in all sectors globally. And that's why e-residency cannot be associated with tech sector. What can be really is our readiness to allow people to work in startup sector who come to Estonia from third countries. Then there is a simplified procedure when they go to work in the company which is growing quickly, which turnover is rising quickly, profits are rising quickly, or the people they employ is rising quickly. You get indeed an easy access to third countries workforce who can then settle in Estonia. This is a qualitative analysis. It's not a quantitative analysis, actually. The company which wants people to hire people from third country has to talk to the police and border guard officials, and then they will either qualify or not qualify for startup visas. If they qualify, then indeed people from third countries can come and settle in Estonia really easily. But I would like to stress these two things are not linked. Estonian e-residents don't have to settle in Estonia. They can, create a company, for example, in Estonia. It's a European company in a European ecosystem. You just can run it from your pocket, from your mobile phone or from your computer. You don't have to be in Estonia.
Can you talk more about your visa program?
Our labor market is extremely flexible. We create enough jobs for our people and then some more. We have constantly low unemployment rates. Estonian unemployment tends to be around 4-5%. There are regions where it can go below 3%. And this obviously signals us that there needs to be more workforce. And basically, there are several options, of course, nowadays to hire. Many people work for Estonian companies without coming to Estonia. They may be residents or simply work for Estonian companies where they are, because as pandemics has proven now to those who didn't believe it before, about 30%, maybe even half of our jobs can be done in a geographically neutral way. We have known it for a long time in Estonia, so we accept people working in Estonian businesses without setting foot in Estonia a long time already. Visa regime is indeed meant for those who need to be on spot and want to really work from Tallinn, and they are welcome if they find a job in the startup sector, and then they can settle in Estonia as well. So this is indeed possible. But this number is relatively limited compared to what are the Estonian companies hiring elsewhere and e-residents who work in Estonian companies. There are even Estonian companies like Testlio, for example, whose most clients are in US and they deal with testing various digital applications. Their workforce works globally, wherever, because they need lots and lots of language skills. And I believe that most of them have never ever visited Estonia and don't plan to do so, but they can work in Testlio without any problem.
Would you recommend this system to nations who are facing a talent crunch in their own country?
If you do not have a private sector which is ready to function this way, then you may do e-residency or you may do startup visas. It doesn't change anything. Frankly speaking, you have to have the demand from the private sector. So no, you cannot copy, but definitely every government should listen to the needs of their private sector. What do they need from the legal space to be adapted so that it is, ready to function in unison with the economy, so that you are not restricting economic development, but rather creating permissive legal space so that the economy can develop and the companies can grow. And it depends very much between the negotiations between the private sector and the government. Actually, all Estonian developments, starting from the digital ID in this sphere, have stemmed from the partnership with the private sector. They tell what is their bottleneck, and we try to see whether by legal space setting we can resolve this bottleneck. And if we can, then we do.
Does the private sector or the public sector provide better remuneration, or is it more of a national service sort of mindset among Estonians?
Public sector salaries are maybe a little bit lower than in private sector, but this is not the determinant. The determining factor is that in many countries, in developed nations, there are pension schemes and other remuneration schemes which are linked to your employer. In Estonia, all these, let's say, child support schemes, parental leave schemes, pension schemes are treated as a single system, public single system. So you do not earn a better pension by staying stuck in public sector, which is very rare. And this means that Estonian people do not have the golden handcuffs to stick to public sector work, even if it's lower paid or something. They can go to private sector and they can come back again. And private sector neither has these golden handcuffs to keep people with them. So, every employer also has to constantly offer better and better working conditions and higher productivity rates for people to remain. I remind you, the unemployment rate is low. There is a constant competition between employers, be they in public or private sector, for workforce. And because the labor market is absolutely free, nobody wins anything from staying 10 years in one company. Of course, some companies may pay you because you stay 10, 15 or 20 years, but it's not really common in Estonia. So basically, you are always incentivized to look for opportunities elsewhere as well, more productive opportunity available. So I would advocate for free labor markets for all developed economies.
All right, thank you, President Kaljulaid, for speaking to us.
Thank you.